Well,
Did you see that was a Japanese beer?
yeah.
I didn't even know they had Japanese beers.
Kirin Ichiban.
That's interesting. Thank you so much.
And so you started real young dancing.
When I was
so,
2 years
And I
old.
mentioned that came first, right? The dancing, then the singing.
Mm-hmm.
How did it all start? Like,
So I started dancing when I was 2 years old. So at the time, there was only, I think, like one dance studio in San Antonio that took little ones that young. So my parents had taken us to, I don't know if you're familiar with the Fiesta parades here in San Antonio.
Yes.
So, I mean, we participate every year now, but as a child, I participated, or as a baby, I would go to the parades with my family. And at the time, there was a little float with a whole bunch of little folklorico dancers on it, little ones, like 2-3-year-olds. So my mom saw the float, and she said, I want to put my girls in that. So I have a sister. We're 14 months apart, so I have an older sister. And she called the number the week after Fiesta, and she said, how do I sign up my girls? And the rest was history. I started when I was 2, and then I spent my whole life, taking dance lessons and studying all kinds of dance, like ballet folklorico, flamenco, Latin. And then around 12, I went pro, so I started dancing with the professional company and traveling and things like that. And then at 16, I opened up my own studio. So I've been doing that for 12 years now. Almost 12 years. Yeah. So now I've been teaching, and I opened the studio when I was 16, not knowing what was going to come of it. I think it was at the time going to just be something I had kind of part-time, and maybe just to get extra money, and it just grew and grew and grew, and I'm still going. So it's been a great experience, and I love the fact that now I can give back and mentor and teach. I teach a lot of young kids. Now I take 2-year-olds too, so it's just kind of like a cycle.
what's harder to teach the 2-year-olds or the older adults?
The older ones.
Right.
The little ones, I think a lot of people underestimate them because of their age, but they're like little sponges. Yeah. So, just like they're learning to walk, they're like learning to dance at the same time. So it kind of just blends together. It's a little harder when they're older, because I think older kids, they have a lot more insecurities, and they're a little bit more reserved. And when they're young, they're fearless. Yeah. They're like, this is me. I don't care. Like, I'm confident. I'm sassy. But when they get a little older, that's when I start noticing that change where they kind of hold back a little bit. So I prefer when they're little. Cause
it's like they're already programmed. Yes. They say from the age of 1 to 7, that's when all the kids are getting all the information to program.
Yes.
And that's how they're going to live out their, like, pretty much their lives after that.
Yes.
So after that age, I mean, they have those insecurities, those fears, and it's hard for them to change.
Yeah, and we live in a society right now where it's hard for kids, going through bullying in schools and peer pressure and like social media and things like that. So I see it within the kids that I teach. So it's important for me to have, like an outlet where they can be themselves and where they can feel comfortable, because it's just, we live in a really tough world with a lot of mean people and just a lot of pressure for these young kids. So I like to consider my studio as like a little safe place, or like a second home for them to just feel like I can be myself, and I don't have to worry about anybody judging me, and I can do what I love.
Where's your studio at?
It's located off of Fredericksburg and I-10, so kind of near like the Woodlawn area. Yeah, pretty central here in San Antonio. So.
And your classes, when do you teach them?
I average about 12 classes a week. So I teach mostly in the evenings during the week, and then on Saturdays. And then we also perform like different places throughout San Antonio. Yeah. We'll be at the Market Square this Saturday. So we stay really busy. And then we do the parades during Fiesta. So...
Is that the float I saw? Was that the Selena one?
Yes, that was our theme this year for the parades. Was the Selena float, and it went viral. It was all over. I think anything that has to do with Selena, people just go crazy. So that was one of the options this year. They give us a little.
We won first place out of all the entries.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So how it works is they give you like a list of themes, and you get to choose from that list what your theme is going to be. So when I saw Selena was on there, I'm like, we have to do it. Like, we have to do it. I love Selena, and we dance a lot of her music and stuff in class. So we centered our whole theme around her style and her music, and it was a hit. So
that was like a one-time thing, because her dad has rights to everything.
Oh,
so they had to get permission from the Q Productions that would be one of the entries, one-time thing. We can't have Selena every year.
Yeah.
And that it was allowed.
Yeah.
And it was great, and I love Selena. The only thing is, I think a lot of people, like, they kind of started looking at me as, like, an impersonator, and they're like, oh, it's the Selena impersonator. And I'm like, no. You know, it's just a one-time thing. I love Selena. I have the dark hair like her. You know, I guess, sometimes see the resemblance. But I was just a one-time thing. So I think on the news, they were showing our float, and they're like, it's a Selena impersonator. And I'm like, no, it's not an impersonator. It's just, you know, it's just all in fun. It was all in fun. So after the parade was over, I'm like, Selena's gone. Like, it was a good time, but I'm Krystal Diaz again. So
Yeah.
But we were very thankful that we got that positive response, and that, you know, that people liked it. So
Well, that's good. I mean, it looked awesome. Now, introduce your mom, because just
Interviews, I kind of get like sucked in.
just so we.
That's okay. We do it on the interviews. We have sometimes other people.
Oh, we do?
Yeah, that's cool. I mean,
it's
But,
so funny. Like, they'll be interviewing, and they're like, tell her your mom comes at you. My mom's like,
your mom wants a beer. Chris, are you
She's a
sure?
lady that works with the
Ask her if she wants one.
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Do you like analyze Selena's dance, or other people?
Yes. Well, the funny thing is, that wasn't the first time. When they had her 20-year anniversary, which was maybe like 5 or 6 years ago, they did like a casting to. They were doing a Selena video. It was like a tribute to her, so they casted me for that. So I played her in that tribute video for her 20-year anniversary a couple years back. And then Great Days, they did a segment where they were featuring Selena, and they asked me to be on that too. So there's been a couple projects throughout the years where they've reached out to me, because I dance too.
Yeah.
So, and it was all like, I was either singing live or lip singing her songs, but they also wanted to look for someone that could dance. So it just kind of worked. So, you know, throughout the years when I've kind of done stuff to remember her, I've tried to kind of channel her moves and her style and things like that. So it's always a big honor, but it's also a lot of pressure, because I think anybody that ever has portrayed her in a project always wants to portray her in the best light and do her justice. She's no longer with us, so it's a little bit of pressure, but I have fun. I mean, she's been a big influence in my musical career, and I'm sure plenty of other people, and I enjoy it. So.
But I mean, you had to study, I guess, her dance or the way you move. Is there
The way she
certain things
moves.
that she incorporated, like maybe some things that you did, like I know you do a lot of I'm not sure, was it the salsa?
Yes, yeah, but she was all about the cumbia, so she did a lot of like the washing machine and the hip movement.
yeah.
And one of my favorite things that Selena did in her performances were her turns. So, you know, coming from a dance background, I do a lot of turns in my choreography. So there's a lot of, if you study her videos, there's a lot of little breaks in her performances where she would do a lot of spins. And I've been able to kind of channel that into my performances, either, you know, when I portrayed her, or now, you know, as my own, you know, artist. But that's one thing that I loved about her the most, was that not only was she a really great singer and vocalist, but she was like a performer. You know, she would go on stage and she looked good, she sounded good, and she had that energy. And she definitely is like a really big inspiration, because you don't see a lot of that nowadays, you know? So she was like the whole package. So I think that's pretty inspiring.
Cool. And what other artists that influenced you?
Growing up, I mean, I'm from the 90s. I was born in the 90s, so I grew up with Shelly Lares and Elida Reina and Stephanie Montiel. So, you know, Michael Salgado, Bobby Pulido. So, and it's neat now, because I've been able now to do events and stuff, and they're at these events. So, you know, I remember being 4 or 5 years old, having birthday parties in my backyard, listening to Shelly Lares or listening to Elida Reina, and growing up, you know, listening to the music throughout the house, and to now see them now still in the industry, still doing well, and be able to kind of be in the same room as these artists, or, you know, be at the Tejano Music Awards now with these artists as a new artist. It's just kind of surreal sometimes, because that's what I grew up listening to, and it was their songs that I grew up singing, you know, around the house and things like that. So they've always been a big inspiration. And I think, you know, the fact that these women have been in the industry for, you know, Elida, for instance, well over 25 years. I have so much respect for her, because I've only been in it a year and a half, and I've seen all the work that goes into it. So I think anybody that can be in this industry for that long and have new music and new albums, you know, it takes a lot of work and sacrifice. So I really look up to them a lot.
Yeah, it's
because
a
of
lot
the hard work.
Hard work.
Yes. So that's kind of what I grew up, you know, with as a little girl. So.
And do you play any instruments? I know you mentioned maybe your grandpa played accordion.
Yes. So I come from a family of musicians. I took piano lessons as a young girl, but I have too much energy. So I had a piano teacher, and she would just, a little old lady, and I would just sit there like, I want to be dancing, I want to be moving. So I didn't really pick up on instruments. Like I said, I did a little bit of piano, but my passion has always been dance, singing and dancing. So, and I also did pageants growing up too. But I came from a family of musicians where I had my tios and my great-grandparents, and if they weren't dancing, they were singing. If they weren't singing, they were playing guitar. If they weren't playing the guitar, they were playing the accordion. And they were all self-taught, which was amazing to me.
Yeah.
And we have a ranch in Pleasanton, Texas. And I grew up, just spending time at the ranch and hearing them sing. And that's what we love to do. Before there was the internet and, social media and all that stuff, I remember growing up at just some simpler times where my family would get together and we'd all just enjoy each other's company, listen to music, play music for hours and hours. And I loved it. And I firmly believe that that's where my, my passion for music came from. It's just all that I was surrounded by growing up.
Yeah.
So I definitely have an ear for like conjunto music and Tejano music, and now I feel like it's kind of like an honor to be able to kind of give that back to my family, because that's what they instilled in me. So they're proud and they love it, and a lot of my family members have since passed since then, so it's kind of like important for me to like continue to leave that legacy of keeping music alive in my family. So it's a pretty big deal for me.
Do you write any songs or?
Well, right now, my first 2 songs were cover songs that I released. So I've been working with my producer to now work on original music. So I'm getting ready to release a new single. I'm hoping by October, and that's an original song. So it's a heartbreak song. So it's going to be pretty deep. When people listen to it, they're going to be like, wow. But that's my next step. I'm working on an album now. A lot of people are asking me, like, what's next? So definitely an album. So this would be my 3rd single that I'm going to release this fall. And that's my first original song.
Who's your producer?
David Garza. David L. Garza. So my very first producer was Gilbert Velasquez. Okay. Which I'll always be forever grateful, to him. He's a Grammy Award-winning, producer. And, anytime I say his name, people are like, oh, my God, you got to work with Gilbert. So it was an honor for me to work with him and have him produce my first song ever. And I was just very grateful that he even wanted to work with me because, like I said, I was new. I had no music, very, very new to the industry. And that song that he came out, helped me put together was just awesome. That one was La Reina del Baile. So It was a very fun, cumbia, and he's awesome. He's very stern, and he's like a man that knows what he wants, so it's like, take it or leave it. This is how it is. And, you're going to either take my criticism or don't take it. But it's just, he's very real. But I think in the industry, it's important to have mentors like that are just going to lay it all out on the table and say, this is what you have to do. And this is how it is, Don't sugarcoat it.
Yeah.
So
did he make you cry?
No, but there was a couple times where I'm like, but it's important. I think as an artist, you have to be surrounded by people that are just going to be real with you and say, you know what, this is what you need to do if you want to succeed. This is the kind of music you need to do, or this is the kind of artist you kind of need to be. And, so I was really grateful to like have my first experience be with him. Because I'm like, okay, now I know what I'm getting myself into here. Do I want to do this? I'm just kidding.
It can't get any harder than this guy.
I can still run. And I remember the day that I released La Reina del Baile, the song was done, the video was done, and I was just so nervous. I was like, I was about to go live on YouTube, releasing the video, and I'm like, I don't have to do this. I could just say forget it, and everybody will just forget about it. It was a really nerve-wracking feeling because I did not know how people were going to people were going to like it. And it was just a very, very new experience for me. But thankfully, a lot of doors have opened and I've been able to, have a lot of opportunities so far. And as a new artist, I feel grateful, to even have these opportunities because it takes time for people to really kind of learn who you are and accept who you are as a new artist, So I got to perform at the Tejano Music Awards, the fanfare this past year, and I performed 3 different times, and I'm like, I'd be happy with one performance, you know what I mean? So I've been very, very thankful and grateful for the doors so far, even just being here tonight, for people that want to hear what I have to say and believe in me as as a new artist. And so I'm really excited to see where my journey takes me.
How do you like this new song, Te Metiste?
I love it. I love
It's
it.
good, yeah.
I love it because it was a love song, you know, and right now, like, you don't hear a lot of love music anymore. I always play around and say, like, now it's all about the party and, you know, living the single life and having the ladies or, you know, whatever. So I really wanted to kind of do this song, and it was a cover song. The original artist, I ended up finding out a week before he passed away that he died a week before he released this song.
Yeah.
So the song was kind of, the style was more like banda. So he was a very popular artist in Mexico. He passed away. He already had recorded the song, or filmed the music video, but he died in a car accident leaving a show right before he could release it. So they released the song about a couple months after he passed away. It went platinum. It was #1 on all the Latin billboards and all that stuff. So when I first heard the song, I loved it, but I wanted to kind of change the style into more like romantic. We call it cumbia romantica.
Yeah.
And a little bit more feminine and a little softer. And so David definitely helped me with that. And it's interesting because a lot of people heard the song and they didn't even know it was a cover song. You know, like, who wrote it? That was such a great song. And I don't take credit because it's not my song, you know. So, but if you listen to the original version and mine, you wouldn't even know they were the same song. The
Yeah, I
style
haven't
is-
heard it. I mean, I heard it with the original version, and then I heard yours. Like, well, it fits more like with this kind of. I mean, because of
Yes.
with the way the song says, you know, how it goes. I think
Yes.
you're right. It fits a little bit more like
It's a little bit
with that feminine
softer.
touch.
Yes,
right?
with the more feminine touch, and it was just a beautiful love song, and I love the lyrics. That's really why I wanted to do this song, because the lyrics are just so genuine and so like beautiful, and that's why I ultimately fell in love with the song. And then when I found out that the poor guy passed away, I was like, oh my gosh, I really hope that this
I didn't know he had passed away.
You know, I didn't know either, and I like to do a little bit of research on an artist if I'm ever going to do like a cover of their song, just to kind of know their style, their story. So all I was doing was just doing some research and ended up finding out that he passed away, which was very sad. So I hope that I, you know, paid tribute once again to this artist in a good light, and I did him justice.
Oh, definitely.
So.
I think you did. And you did the video with Ryan Bazan?
Ryan Bazan.
Yeah.
Yes, and
How
he's
was that?
awesome.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
I worked with him for many years. He's done, you know, photography for me, and that was the second video that he did for me, and it was great. So
Did you have fun in the video?
I did. And every video that I do, you know, like the first video was all about the dance, you know, the cumbia, and there's a scene in La Reina del Baile where my first single, where I'm underneath a waterfall and I'm getting all wet, and everybody's like, that was so cool how you planned that, you know. And I'm like, it wasn't planned, that scene. And it ended up being my favorite part of the whole music video. But it was a very, very hot day. I think it was the month of like June, and we had been filming early in the morning, but even then it was super hot. And we were kind of running out of ideas. You know, we were like, we already did this. That was cool. We already did that. He's like, we need something else. And we both kind of look at each other, and there's this fountain of water. And he's like, would you be down to get wet? And I'm like, yeah. Well, I had my hairstylist there that spent about 2 hours on my hair. And she's looking at me like, no, you're not. Like, we just did your hair. Like, you look so good. And my mom's like, no, you're not. And I'm like, if it's going to make for a good video, I'm going to do it. I don't care what y'all say. I'm going. So that scene, you know, he's just like, just go under the water, let loose. And I'm just there, you know, my hair is just crazy, and I'm turning around, but he ended up capturing it kind of like a slow-mo. So and everybody that saw the video was like, that was my favorite part of the whole video. And I'm like, that wasn't even planned, but it was so much fun. And I felt so much better because it was so hot. So I always try to think of really interesting concepts, you know, when it comes to the video. Same with the Metiste. I was like, do I have a love interest? Do I not have a love interest? I kind of went back and forth on the idea, and, you know, so it was completely different. The first one was more about the party, and the newest single was more about, you know, being in love. And
Yeah, this one has a little bit more of a story,
more
too.
of a story. Yeah. So the newest single that I'm going to be releasing in the fall is called Adiós hasta nunca. And that's going to be a whole different story. So
that's your song.
It's not going to be so much of a happy ending.
Is that your original?
That's the original.
Okay.
So that's going to be the newest song that's going to be released this year. So
Where'd you record that one?
with David Garza. Yeah. So he helped me actually write this song, and then we came up with. Right now we're just finalizing the style of it and just kind of adding the instruments and things like that. So it should be done pretty soon.
How do you like writing it?
Well, he wrote this song. You know, we kind of went back and forth. kind of like on ideas and the input. So right now, you know, what he tells me is just like put notes down, kind of start writing about your experiences. So I have a whole book of stories. It's just getting them into the song, you know, getting them, like, I guess writing a song is what I really want to focus on trying to do. But he's very he's a visionary, and he's really good about, you know, like kind of putting his ideas on paper. So I'm really grateful to work with him, because he not only is you know, really good with writing songs, but he's also a very good vocalist. So I think vocally, he's really helped my voice, and helped, you know, really, I guess, strengthen my vocals on a lot of these songs that we've worked on. So it's just been great working with him, you know, and he's just real, like, just be comfortable, just be yourself. If you don't like something, you know, you tell me, and we'll make it perfect. So it's been great. I've loved working with him.
All right, so I guess this is the first time we're doing this. So we do a question, we try one, and then we do a question.
Okay. Sure.
And these are like supposedly hard questions, like.
Oh my.
Yeah.
They're gonna be like, Krystal was on that show, and we just learned it all.
Yeah.
She just let it all out.
Just let it all out. I don't know.
Giving her that little bottle.
Every time she take a shot, we learn more about her.
I try to. I mean, this is just off a website.
Okay.
So I'll read the question before I say it, because it kind of went south last time. But yeah, let's take some shot here. All right.
Some weird questions.
Are they? Okay.
All right. Let's see.
Oh, these are Vicente Fernandez shot glasses.
Yeah,
Very nice.
My mom gave me these shot
They're
glasses.
fancy.
They're
They say
for your show.
Vicente Fernandez. I like that.
You're right. And how much does it matter? It's just like a regular shot?
However much you want.
Yeah. Okay, I guess they win.
That's good.
Oh man. All right, Krystal.
That is a big shot.
Yes, come by.
Okay.
Goodbye. Okay, before the name of your next single. What is it?
Adiós hasta nunca.
Adiós hasta nunca.
Yes.
Cheers, my friend.
Cheers. And what did you say again?
Kampai.
Kampai.
Kampai. Kampai.
Ooh, that's good. Smooth. I like that.
Yeah, it's good.
I like that.
Very good.
Very good.
Oh, now it's gonna get hot in here. Huh?
I approve of the sake.
Yeah. Now we do the takis.
No takis.
No. All right.
Sake's for me. Takis for everyone else.
Oh, that's good. Hot question. All right. We did the sake with a hot question. And I'm going to try to find a good one here. Well, I mean, sort of. Oh, do you want to read it and then you answer it?
No, I just asked it. I'm not scared.
Okay. Oh, man. You're going to be scared. Where is the strangest place you've ever had sex?
Oh, my God. Do y'all know that my mom's in here?
Ma'am, do this.
Oh.
Yeah, you don't have to answer, but I mean,
Strangest
everybody
place.
answers anyway.
Oh. That's a good, whoa. I don't know. I guess I'm not that crazy. Usually, like, my sex life is it's behind closed doors and private. My life is so public, so my personal life is like close the door, lock the door, leave me alone. Yeah.
What's your zodiac sign?
I am a Capricorn.
Capricorn.
Yeah. So Capricorns are very loyal.
Yeah.
We're very like independent women. So, you know, sometimes it's like hard for me to like let a man kind of take care of me, because I'm like I'll do it myself.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you're not going to step it up, then I'm just going to take care of myself. Like, you know, so we're very independent. But when it comes to like our love lives, we're very loyal, and we're very faithful, and we're the best partners of all the signs, I would say. No,
My daughter's a Capricorn.
But we're very like stubborn too.
Yeah.
Kind of like my way or no way. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
Yeah, my daughter's a Capricorn, and she's 15 right now, but I mean, you could tell right away. She's like, I don't need a boyfriend. I could do it on my own. You know?
They do say Capricorns can be a little cold, but I think it's more of like they're just kind of like a do-it-yourself So we're just like a do-it-yourself sign.
But because they're like an earth sign, right? Is that what they say?
Yes,
why.
but they're also very ambitious, very career-oriented, lots of goals. So ever since I was a young girl, I was always very like bossy and very like, this is what I want to be and this is what I want to do. So you'll probably see that with your daughter as she grows up. You know,
I'm
she's
seeing
gonna
it
be
now.
a boss, which is a
Yeah.
good thing. It's a good quality to have. So
That's good. Let's see.
cast me another one. That was a very like that. Just throw it all out there.
It's a sake. It's
That's
a
the
sake.
truth, though. I mean, I don't think I've
I
ever
don't
done
know.
anything that crazy.
Okay, have you ever explored another one? Have you ever explored tantric sex, or just like the art of tantric? You know what that is?
What is that?
What is that tantric? Come on, explain.
It's like a Hindu thing. It's kind of combines massage, sensual massage.
Well, you know how they have meditation, right? They have meditation. What's a meditation thrown into sex?
I haven't, but that sounds great.
It's sensual massage, like combined with like yoga and sex, sort of all.
Wow, I've never heard of it. No, I never. I
well,
mean, never have.
It's
But
something you can Google.
it's definitely something I'm probably
Like,
looking.
do you meditate, or do you go off somewhere by yourself where you're in your quiet space?
That's usually like when my workout time. Like I
okay.
spend a lot of time dancing in the studio, but
So that's
here
how
lately I allocate like an hour of day to just exercise. So, and that's kind of like my stress relief
Your
for
stress
my I wouldn't say meditation because it's just like an hour of insanity and it's hard. But that's like me time. They always
Yeah.
say like everyone deserves an hour a day to allocate to yourself, whether it's reading a book, whether it's
Right.
meditating, whether it's exercise. So that like 1 hour a day is like me time to like just let out my stress or anxiety or whatever and just go hard in
you
the
work
gym.
out every day.
I work out about 5 times a week now, but I'm also in the studio almost every day. So if I'm not dancing, I'm exercising. So I'm very active. You know,
Is there a difference
daily.
from your dancing to, like, say, to going to lift weights? Or
Oh yeah.
cardio?
You know, I have to work out because since I've danced my whole life, my body's so used to it. So I can dance for 3 or 4 hours and I don't really get that tired. So I have to go to the gym, you know, and do something different so that I'm actually working to get in shape because my body doesn't know anything else
Right.
than the dancing. So I can dance and dance and dance, but I can't really use it as like a workout to help me like get fit. So I work out for an hour a day and then I'll go to the studio from like right from that point and I'll go teach for like 2 or 3 hours. So
But you know why, right? I mean, your body starts getting used to it and it
Yes,
adapts.
yes.
So,
my body is so adapted to
yeah.
dance. I mean, I can dance with my eyes closed. I can dance in my sleep, and it's nothing. But I do a lot of like weightlifting and squats and high intense cardio, and that's what helps keep up with my dancing. You know, and gives me that energy that I need.
Yeah.
So that's my me time. Yeah.
It happens to me too. Like if I stop working out, after a while, your body starts telling you, it's like, work me out
And
here.
you
know,
feel
it's like,
ugly.
you feel it, right?
You feel ugly and you get out of shape so fast. You know,
Yeah.
you take like a week off, or there's been times where I've just gone, you know, or you have your off times where you're just like, I don't really want to work out. And for me, I'm like, I already am going to get my exercise at the studio, so it doesn't matter. But my body will start
Later
feeling
on,
just
yeah.
sluggish. And I like how I feel when I'm exercising because I
Yeah.
just have that energy.
Then it
throughout
goes
the
to your
day.
mind, right? It starts fixing your mind. Oh, like you said, you start thinking, now I'm sluggish, now I'm lazy.
Yes. Yes. So that's my me time. So definitely in the gym.
Cool. Now, do we take another shot?
Sure.
All right.
It's a smooth shot, but you know, like what they say about shots that taste smooth like that?
Be careful.
On my
right?
way out,
Like-
I'm going to be like, oops.
Is your mom driving? Is your mom driving?
No, I'm driving, so I'll do one more. I'll be fine. I'm going to have to call an Uber, but it's okay. I'm just kidding. I'll be
Originally
fine.
it's wine, so it's not-
Yeah. If anything, when I get home, I'll just be sleepy, which is good.
Kung Pao or Kung Pai?
Kampai.
Kung Pai.
Kung Pao is a chicken, isn't it? Kung Pao chicken. Kung Pai.
Kung Pai. That
I
goes down
really-
too smooth.
I
man.
really like that. That's
Yeah,
really
you
good.
could- All right, here we go. Oh man, these questions.
I know. Who comes up with these questions?
Let's see what website it is. Popculture.com. That's where I'm getting it from. Just so
Pop
you won't
culture.
think. Should I? Okay, here we go. It has about 20 questions, but I'm only gonna do. We'll do about 2 more.
Okay.
1 or 2. Okay. Do you think you're a good kisser?
Yes. I have very full lips, so I think that makes for a great kisser.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No one's ever complained.
My mom's laughing like, shut up. Nobody's ever complained about kissing
Yeah.
me, so I think I am.
Cool.
I'm a good lover, I think. So I think I have all those like really good
I don't
qualities.
know. They say about earth signs they're a little bit cold and
Yeah, I can be. It depends on. I guess it depends on my day. You know, it
depends on the
It
day.
depends on how you're acting. Are you gonna be nice, and then I'll be affectionate? If
Yeah.
not, no, I think so. I know so. Yeah, that's a yes.
it's a yes. What's the ultimate role play for you?
Role play? Are we talking about sex again?
You can interpret it. You can interpret it. Yeah.
Role play. I am a very traditional woman, so I guess if we're talking about like men and women, or it doesn't even have to be sexual. Like I like a man's man, so I like a man that like I'm very independent, but I think like when I'm in a relationship, I like a man that's gonna like kind of like take control and like put me in my place sometimes. Like I find that very attractive.
Yeah.
I've dated different people, and I've been with I've had my relationships and things like that, and I've come across men that are kind of like whatever you want kind of men, and I don't like
Yeah.
that. I'm like, no, like this is what we're gonna do. So I think for me, like when it comes to roles, even if it's like sexually or just in general, I like a man's man that's gonna be like, put me in my place and be a man and just be dominant. I like that. But also he needs to let me be like independent and be like who I am too. So it's gotta be a balance.
It's a balance.
Yeah. It's gotta be a balance. So
I've noticed that like with women, with the real strong independent women,
yeah.
they still want a man that's gonna be like a little more dominant.
Yeah, but just don't tell me what to do. Like, no.
How's that?
Like, it's just hard. I'm probably just very complicated, but I don't like being told what to do. But I do like a man. I like a man that like is sure of himself and knows what he wants. So I think being like a woman in this industry and also like just being a woman that's independent. Sometimes in the past I've come across men that have a lot of insecurities, whether it's jealousy or them not being very supportive. So it's important for me to just have someone in my life that is sure of himself and is confident and like knows what he wants and isn't like an insecure man. But just don't boss me around and don't tell me what to do.
Yeah.
Just let me be me and support me. So that's my role then. A dominant man. That's my favorite. Yeah.
Is it gonna be like hard to find because of your type of business? You think?
No,
maybe it's
I'm in a relationship now. I've been with my boyfriend now for about half a year, and it's been great so far. He's in the music industry, so he's a musician as well. Not at Tejano, more of like rock music.
Yeah.
And he also DJs and has his own business and things like that. But it works because we both have our own life. He's got his music career and he performs and he's around people all the time, and so he knows what it's like. In the past, my past relationships, I was always, my life was so different from the people that I was with, so it was very hard for them to kind of accept the fact of what I did, or not being home all the time, or being in front of people. So for me, I took about 2.5 years to really like just be alone and find myself and be single and date here and there. But for me, I'm like, next relationship, I need to find someone that's just gonna support me and have his own life too. Because I think also a lot of times with artists and things like that, sometimes their significant other, their life becomes the artist's life, and that's their life. They're just there with them all the time and things like that. And I don't think you should ever lose yourself in a relationship. I think you should still be supportive and be a supportive partner, but still have your own things going for you. Because if things don't work out and you're putting all your eggs in one basket and your life just becomes their life, it's just like you're going to be lost. So I think it's just important to have a life balance.
Yeah.
So,
sort of reminds me of that saying, oh, you complete me, but I don't think that's completely
no,
correct,
complete
right?
yourself.
Right, correct?
Like you should never search for happiness within another person, because if you're not happy on the inside, you're not going to be happy with anyone. You're going to find flaws and you're going to be picking at them and things like that. So I think it's important to like know who you are first and really like just understand the person that you are before you get involved with someone. So that's kind of where I'm at, and I get to do what I love, and he does what he likes to do, and we just, it works. So I think it's important to just have your own life. but still be supportive of the person that you're with.
You do like any reading? Because like this philosophy that you have, it's more of a philosophy like real self-reliant.
Yes. I like to read a lot of books. I'm a very independent woman, like I've said before. So I read a lot and I study a lot into like, even in college, I studied like psychology and sociology, like the study of the mind and the way people think, people's mannerisms, why people are a certain way, whether it's in friendships or relationships. A lot of times it has to do with like the way they were raised or their, how they were growing up. So I've kind of read a lot into it. So that's just kind of how I learned. And I've kind of come to terms with who I am and the people that I want to surround myself with. So it's just all about learning and just finding people that are like good for your soul, and surrounding yourself with good people.
That helps a lot in this industry because the ego could come up real fast.
And I think it's important, like as an artist, whatever, whoever you are, even just a human being, just always being humble. I've been able to do so much, even before singing. I was a Miss San Antonio and I got to I've been able to travel the world and do so many different things. But I think it's important, especially in this industry, to always be relatable and be real and also be humble, because just like these blessings are given to you in a split second, they could be gone and you can be left with nothing. So you should never have that mentality like, I've made it, I'm better than anyone, because just like you've been given these opportunities, they can be taken away from you so fast, and you can be, starting back from level 1 and having to build, your way up again. And whenever I meet people, I always want them to be able to connect with me on a personal level and not feel like I wasn't relatable. I can't relate with her because she's just kind of carries herself like not like a normal person. I have flaws. I have bad days. I have, stresses, just like everybody else does. And I want to be able to relate to my followers and relate to my fans and things like that. And that way they can look at my life and say, you know what, she's a normal person, just like all of us. And I can do what she's doing. You know what I mean? If I work hard, I can accomplish whatever I want to accomplish.
That's awesome, because that's going to help you connect to the people. I mean, right now, do you see a lot of people like they use too much of their ego and they're putting stuff like on social media, this and that?
Right.
So.
And I think it's social media, it's like a blessing and a curse at the same time, because it's a great platform to promote yourself as artists, to promote our music, to also like connect with our fans. But it's a curse because if you don't use it properly, it can really mess you up. And I think as artists, you have to remember that you're in the public eye. People are following you. They're looking at you a little bit more than the average person. And you have to be careful with what you share and what you post. And I have days where I'm mad, where I'm just like, oh, this happened today and I'm so angry and I just want to go off on someone. But I remember at the end of the day that I have people that look at what I'm doing. I have people that follow me. I have young followers too that are, not only like my students that I mentor, but, also young fans and followers that, they like my music and see what I do. So I'm always very conscious of what I share on social media. Even when it comes to my personal life, I don't like to share too much because there's always people watching. And there's certain things that I like to keep to myself because I share so much already with everybody else. But I'm also very, very conscious of what I share on social media because I always want to be portrayed in a positive light. I don't ever want people to look at my profile and be like, she just went off, and she's just said this and I cannot believe she said that. And it's just, you have a career and you work so hard to have this image and you don't want it to be thrown away because of a post. Because you were, not feeling...
You had a bad day?
Yeah, and I had somebody tell me one time, if you're having a bad day, write it in a notebook. Tell a friend, call a friend, but don't post it. Even if I've seen people that have been angry and they'll post this long post and then it'll be up for like an hour and then they'll delete it. But by that point, people have screenshot it, send it to their friends. They're talking about you. Like, just don't share it. Don't share it. So if you study my social media and my profiles, you'll see that they're very positive and pretty much just about my career and things like that. I don't really talk too much about personal things, but I like it that way. I like it that way, and anybody that knows me personally gets to see a different side. But I just think it's important to just always put your best self out there on social media and keep all that drama. Just don't talk
and what do you think about this idea? Because I was talking about some with some guests where they also don't put too much of that private stuff on there because they say, oh, well, there's frequencies out there. There's people out there that might say they want you good for you, but they don't.
Right.
They project that negativity.
Yes. So it's like, I think important too to like, even if you're working on something new or you're in the process, like don't speak about it until it's done.
Until it's done.
You know, if you're in the works of working on a new project or a new, you know, new whatever, new music, things like that, share it when it's done, when it's ready to go. Even when it comes to like relationships and, you know, things with my family, like there's just, you know, I don't want to post 1,000 things with my boyfriend because that's like something that I, you know, that's when I'm not performing or I'm not in the public eye, that's sacred to me. And the same thing like when I'm at home, you know, I'm with my family or if I'm working on something, there's just things that I kind of keep to myself. Yeah. And then when it's done and it's ready, like I'm going to share it with everyone. But I think sometimes it's like self-sabotage. You start saying, I'm working on this. And then you just never know who's watching and you never know. You know, there's a lot of people out there that don't have good intentions and they're just kind of waiting to see you fail. So I just think you have to just be cautious of your, you know, who you have in your circle and the things that you share and just put things out there when they're ready. When they're ready yeah. And they're done. And, you know, you just be cautious. I always think that. Just social media is tricky. Just play it safe. Just play it safe.
Now, for Miss San Antonio, did you learn some of that stuff there, or did you see like the opposite word?
Yeah, I mean, I learned a lot of my ethics and the way I am now is because of that. You know, I started doing pageants at a really young age. And, you know, back in my day, it was like MySpace and stuff. Around the time that I was Miss San Antonio, that was in 2010. That was around the time where Facebook was barely kind of starting to come out. So social media wasn't what it was back then. But, I mean, I lived under a microscope. You know what I mean? Even then, my personal relationships, my decisions, and I was a young girl. I was 18 at the time. So, you know, I wasn't allowed to go out and party with friends because I was Miss San Antonio. Like, you know, if somebody saw me around alcohol or saw me around the wrong crowd, it was not going to be a good thing for me. I was going to get in a lot of trouble. So I kind of, throughout the years, you know, I started dancing professionally when I was 12. So I was around people that were much older than me and I was on stage. And then shortly after, you know, I became Miss San Antonio and I did pageants for years and years. And then I also mentor young kids. So I feel like my whole life has kind of been under a microscope because, you know, I either was in the public eye as a public figure or I'm mentoring young children and, you know, I have their parents on my social media or, you know, I there's people that know me here in the city. So I'm always very cautious of not only who I am online, but who, you know, the decisions that I make when I'm out in public, because you just never know who you're going to run into when you're at these places. But I think I'm very grateful for those experiences because I learned a lot of discipline. And I also just learned how to just be like a good role model and just to be a positive influence. And it doesn't mean that I don't have days where I'm just want to go out and have fun and have a drink and, you know, but it's just I keep that side personal, you know, and the person that I am in front of people and when it comes to my career is just I try to always be professional. But I do credit kind of being Miss San Antonio because, you know, I had directors that would monitor, you know, a lot of things and always kind of kept me in line, you know. You sit like this, you talk like this, you present yourself like this. So I was kind of like a little doll at that time. But now it's not as much pressure, and now it's just important for me to just, you know, just be the best person that I can be and just be a good person, you know. So.
But I think in a way that's good. Do you recommend that like for little kids because that way they build a kind of like a principle, you know?
Yes, you know, and right now, you know, so many of our young kids are on social media now. I have students, you know, that are like, I'm on Instagram, and they're little, they're like 9 or 10. And I'm like, what do you need that for? Yeah. You know, when I was your age, I was like on my bike, you know, and I was just being a kid. And I think right now it's important to share those principles with our youth because, you know, especially when it comes to like online, you know, once you share it and it's out there, you lost it, you know. And I mentor a lot of young girls that are like middle school, high school. And I say, you know, when it comes to like boys or when it comes to social media, just if you have to think about it before you share it, you probably shouldn't be sharing it. You know, and never lose sight of your morals for a boy or, you know, to try to fit in at school and things like that. So I like to share some of my experiences, or I'll say, look at what I share. I don't share things like that. You know what I mean? And I'm in my late 20s, you know, so just I always try to be a good example to them because right now we live in a society where our society tells girls, you know, you have to be like this and you have to grow up really fast and you have to be sexy. And they're little. They shouldn't be thinking about those things or having those pressures at that age. So, you know, if anything, I know that they look up to me, you know, so I want them to be able to look at me and say, you know what, she's right because she doesn't portray herself like that. So I can be successful and I can have all these things without having to do that, you know, and just be that good role model. So part of my job is just being a mentor, and I take it very seriously. So if it's anything I want to leave this earth with, is just knowing that I was a good person and that I set a good example.
That's
So,
awesome, because I was gonna just about ask you, what do you want to leave?
That's
What do you wanna
exactly,
leave?
yeah. And I feel like I always wanted my legacy to be that I was a good person, but also that I did everything that I was capable of. I didn't just stick to one thing. I kind of pushed my limits when it came to singing and pageants and dancing, and I don't believe in just doing one thing. If you want to do it all, do it all. I look at people like J-Lo, where she acts and she sings and she dances, and she has her own fashion line, and I think, like, if you have the talent and you have the ability, do it all. And even if you fail, at least you could say you tried.
At least you tried, right?
Yes. Don't live life with regrets of saying I should have or I could
yeah.
have. Just do it. So.
Man, imagine that if you're on your deathbed, right, and you're suffering, and I should have done this and that.
That's exactly what I think about all the time. Whenever I think about that, like, I'm tired, because I say that a lot. I'm tired. I work full time. I manage a business and I have a career, so I don't rest, like, whatsoever. So a lot of the times I'm just tired, so, but I always tell myself that, like, if you're at the end of the day, you're doing all the things you always wanted to do, and I'm pushing myself to be the best that I can be. So if I die tomorrow, at least I could die saying that I was doing all these things,
Awesome.
So
That's good.
that's my motivation.
All right, so we'll end the segment with James Lipton's questions he did with his actors. Okay?
Okay.
You ready?
Mm-hmm.
What is your favorite word?
My favorite word. Ooh. I don't know. Do I have a word that I say a lot? I don't know if I have a favorite word, to be honest. I talk a lot, so nobody's ever asked me that before. I don't know what my favorite word is.
Who?
I honestly don't. I don't think I have a favorite
No,
word, to be
favorite?
honest. I say
First
a
thing
lot
that
of
comes to your
words. I say a lot of favorite words. I say that's cute a lot, and it gets on my mom's nerves. So I probably, like, that's cute.
That's cute. What is your least favorite word?
Least favorite word is I can't. The word can't. That's, like, aggravates the heck out of me. I guess because I mentor a lot of kids, and they'll say I can't do that, and I'm very motivating, very, like, stern. So I don't like that word, because that word should be, like, out of the dictionary. Can't is just, it's a bad word. So I don't like that word. I think you can. You just got to push yourself. So.
What turns you on?
Like ambition, and within anything. Like, I like ambition. I like to surround myself with ambitious people that are, like, motivated. And I think, like, I like to just surround myself with people who are, like, self-motivated and powerful and ambitious. So for me, I think you call it a sapiosexual. I think that's what you call it. Like, I don't know if you guys have ever heard of that, but it's people that are, they're attracted to the intellect, like the mind. So, like, me, like, when I meet someone for the first time, like, I'm more attracted versus, like, the physical appearance. I like the mind. So if you can impress me with, like, how intellectual you are, that's what locks me in.
There you go.
So show me something new, like, teach me something.
Yeah.
Like, to me, that's sexy. So
Awesome. What turns you off?
turns me off, cocky, like people that are very conceited or self-absorbed. Like I said earlier in our interview, like, I'm very humble, and I'm like, I treat a janitor and a CEO the same way. I will open the door for someone. I'll compliment people. I'm very, like, friendly. But someone who's very, like, self-absorbed or, like, into themselves and doesn't have any, like, sympathy for others, that's, like, a quick way to just turn me off. I can read people very well.
Yeah.
So I can meet someone for the first time and know, like, if they're genuine or not. And usually people that are real, like, just gloat about themselves and are self-absorbed, I'm, like, done. Don't need to meet you again. I'm done. So that's, like, my turn off for sure.
What sound or noise do you love?
Oh, I love the ocean. I go on a lot of cruises. So, like, once a year, my family and I would go on a cruise, and, like, the sound of the waves, and, like, I love to be on the beach. Like, that's my favorite. I'm, like, love to be outdoors and to be on, like, by the water. And I've got to visit a lot of amazing beaches, like Cozumel and Jamaica and the Grand Cayman Islands. So just the sound of the waves.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just so relaxing. So relaxing that sometimes when I can't sleep, my meditation music is, like, water. So that's, like, my favorite.
Which one is your favorite?
Cozumel, Mexico is my favorite. Yes, I've been there maybe like four or five times, and I'd love to visit that beach. It's just beautiful.
Beautiful.
So that's my favorite.
What sound or noise do you hate?
People that smack when they eat. I like, oh gosh. Yeah, like they smack or they chew with their mouth open. I don't like that.
What is your favorite curse word?
Ooh, probably the F word sometimes. Like, I don't like to curse a lot, but I drop it every once in a while. Like, oh, like, yeah. So
The F-bomb.
The F-bomb. See, I won't repeat it because I say it in private. But when I'm frustrated, that's always the word that comes out of my mouth. Not proud of it, but it's the truth.
What profession other than your own would you like to attempt?
Profession? I want to be a talk show host one day. Can you tell?
Awesome.
I like to talk, obviously, and I also like to just like have conversations. And growing up, my mom would call me Oprah. Like, I was like a young girl, and my friends would call me and they would say, my boyfriend broke up with me, and I was always that friend that was like, you deserve better, like you shouldn't be doing that. Like, I was just always like very motivating ever since I was little. Kind of the way I am now. I was like that when I was younger. So I always like, and I have it on my list one day, is to like host my own show.
You have to do it now.
So now I have to do it because I just put it out there for all of you guys to see. So definitely.
And what profession would you not like to do?
Anything that involves hard labor. I just wasn't made for it. Like, I don't know what I was doing the other day. Oh, I was trying to close the... like a to-go box, and I couldn't close it, and somebody was like, you would never work in the food industry with your nails, and you just took like 5 minutes to close the food box. So I just don't think I would be very good at like working at like a fast food restaurant or anything like that. If I had to do it, I would do it, but I just don't think I'd be good at it.
Me neither. And finally,
or being at something outside, like in the heat, no, I wouldn't probably be good at it. So
and finally, if heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
Probably that he was proud of me and what I accomplished on earth. That's, I think, the ultimate goal is, I believe in God, and I'm a devoted Christian, and I go to church and I pray to him, and I always seek him for guidance. So I think to like know if there was some magical way to know that he was proud of what I accomplished on earth, that would be the best feeling ever.
That's awesome.
To know he was proud. So.
Well, Krystal, that's awesome. Krystal, these cameras are for you. Tell us what you're doing right now, and what do you have for our fans?
Well, I'm here, of course, in this wonderful studio with you guys. I want to thank you guys so much for having me. Like I mentioned earlier in the interview, I've got new music coming. My new single that's going to be released this fall. It's entitled Adios Hasta Nunca. In the meantime, you can check out my two singles that have been released: La Reina del Baile and Te Metiste. My most recent single is Te Metiste. You can find me on social media. You can follow me on Instagram, on Facebook, on Snapchat, everything, you name it, under Krystal Diaz. And you can check out my music on all digital platforms and my music videos on YouTube. So be sure to check it out. Krystal with a K. Krystal Diaz. Awesome. So thank you so much for having me. I had a great time.
Krystal,
we finished the bottle.
We finished the bottle.
It was a good night. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you.
All right.